This is about mental health, and anxiety and depression are two of the most common things that we're afflicted with. And one of the things I realized as a therapist was that you could try and treat the symptoms of anxiety and depression all day long and sometimes make no progress. Just trying to minimize the symptoms of the mood disorder or the anxiety disorder. And what I discovered and what I've lived through my own experience was the values, knowing your values, figuring out what your life needs to be about, what your special purpose is in life, what your special contribution can or should be. If you can figure that out, that single discovery of what you really care about and then how you're going to spend your life pursuing that value can be transformative in terms of your own health and well-being and joy in ways that trying to treat symptoms of a mental disorder never can. And so values is I think the most important part of this acceptance and commitment therapy. Roy Disney wrote, it's not hard to make decisions once you know what your values are. A little bit about values. Values are not goals, so getting a degree is not a value. What's the value?
Education.
Education would be a value, right? Values are not destinations. They are directions. They're things that you literally value. When I realized how badly the term values had been corrupted, when I was growing up in Texas, there was this notion of family values. It was kind of a buzzword in the 80s when Reagan was really popular. Any of you remember what family values meant? What did it mean? It's code for don't be gay, right? Be straight. What else? Don't no premarital sex, right? Mom stay home. Mom stays home and has kids. Dad works, right? Traditional family values.
Pro-life.
No abortion, no alcohol, no drugs, no divorce, right? Well, that's how my mind became associated with the term values. Values means a huge old list of things you shouldn't do that a bunch of, white straight men in power basically told us we should, obey and follow. And that's just like with intimacy, which we'll talk about later, which has been corrupted by being associated with what? Sex. Intimacy has been corrupted in that sense. So is the term values. Values simply means, what do you value? What do you value? What do you care about? What turns you on? What gets you excited? What would you do what job would you have if you didn't even receive income from it? Because nothing could keep you from doing it. That's the type of question that the values question kind of imposes upon all of us. What is your purpose? Why are values important? They do two things. They provide you with direction on where you want to go, and they provide you with motivation. When you're sad, when you're lost, when you're depressed, when you're aimless, if you can get in touch with your values and then become really clear about what your purpose in your life and your mission is, and then you just simply, when you're sad or when you're depressed, you're like, wait, what are my values? What can I do today to make a little bit of progress on something that I really care about, or that I really believe in, or that I really, feel like is one of my special contributions that I can make to this world, to my family, to myself, to people around me. It can be transformative. And again, one of the biggest disservices that a fundamentalist institution can do to us is by handing us, this is what you're supposed to care about. Now do it. You know what I mean? And we never actually take the time to figure out, no, wait a minute. And a lot of you mothers are saying that. It's like, hey, I love my kids, but I may have had less, or I may have had them later. I may have pursued some other things, but I was never asked what I cared about. I was never asked what I value. I was told what I was supposed to value. So we actually literally have never been given the opportunity to take the time to get still, which is why we talk about meditation, mindfulness, before we talk about values, because values can emerge from getting still and tapping into our passions, to what we care about. And that's why values are so important. So I just Googled values, and this is just one of a billion lists of values. Brené Brown's got her own list. You can find all sorts of lists. Acceptance and Commitment Therapy has lists. But some of the values listed on this slide: creativity, curiosity, honesty, integrity, simplicity, respect, transparency, integrity, humor, humility, service, kindness, fun, adventure. The list is endless. It's limitless. What's important is that the values that you choose turn you on, light you up, get you excited. What turns you on? And I don't mean that in a sexual sense, although that's not bad.
Can be.
Can be. It can be.
I have sexual values.
Yes, you can have sexual values. But what lights you up? What turns you on? That's probably one of the most important questions you can have. If you're stuck in depression, if you're stuck in anxiety, if you're stuck in your faith crisis, stop churning about Fanny Alger and peepstones and polyandry and what's on Reddit. Get more in tune to what you want your life to be about, not what you want to stand against, right? Spend less of your time focusing on what you're against. Spend more of your time focusing on what you want to be for, what you want to create, what difference you want to make in the world based on your values. And I will tell you from personal experience that it will transform you. Just one second. It will transform your life. It has the potential to transform your life in ways that nothing else will. So if you don't know what your values are, imagine a blank tombstone, like your tombstone. What would you want to be said about you on your tombstone? This is called the tombstone exercise. We're not going to do it, but do it in your mind. What would you want people to say about you? That's one way to think about it. If you were to write a eulogy for your funeral that you would hope your child or partner would offer on your behalf, what are the things you wish that they would say about you? What contributions would you have made in this life if you had kind of a clean slate to be able to decide for yourself? And so you probably all heard this come out of the Leah Young, Cody Young, for those of you who heard that interview, right? We've talked about this on Mormon Stories. We've talked about this on Gift of the Mormon Faith Crisis. One of the most important things you could do for your health, happiness, and well-being is sit down and make a list of your values. 8, 10, 15, 5, whatever it is, figure out what your values are, write them down, make a list. If you've taken the proclamation on the family off your wall, that's fine. Cross-stitch your new list of values and replace the proclamation on the family with your own effing proclamation, right? Of your life. You can applaud at that. You can clap at that, right? And if you have a partner, come up with a combined list of values. And if you have kids, do an exercise where your family is coming up with the list of what your family's values are. And then post it somewhere, refer to it often. When you get depressed, right? When you get sad, when you're worrying about the future, when you're stuck regretting the past, what can you do? Here's what you do. You go to your list of values and you go down and you say, okay, I value service, I value creativity, I value kindness, what's something creative I can do today? Because that is something I value. Maybe I'll go paint. Maybe I'll go write a poem. Maybe I'll start a podcast. Whatever it is, creativity. Oh, service. I'll go serve in the soup kitchen. I'll go volunteer to man the camera for a retreat for a bunch of messed up post-Mormons that are trying to figure their lives out. Like whatever it is, right? Your values provide you a direction and motivation.